So with that, we will get started. So again, everyone, my name is Jacqueline Ebbing, and I am a senior recruiter on our early in careers team here at T-Mobile. Some people call me an intern recruiter, some people a university recruiter, a college recruiter, but whatever you want to call me, my job is essentially to get you all here today a job, or in this case, perhaps an internship. So I've been with T-Mobile for about 3 years now. Actually, I just celebrated my 3-year T-Mobile not university, T-Mobile anniversary last Friday. So just celebrated 3 years. But when I started, I was a Sprint employee. So you may have heard a little bit about a merger that happened back in 2020, combining two very large companies. And I am a product of that merger to be here with T-Mobile today. But today, overall, of course, I want to talk with you about T-Mobile and our internships here, specifically our software engineering internships, and a brief presentation. And then, like I said, I will open it up for a Q&A. So I'm going to focus on our software engineering internships within our three major organizations: Enterprise Technology Solutions, as well as Network Technology, and our TSD&O group, which is Technology Services Delivery and Operations. We'll focus on those today and just the internship program in general. Like I said, or like our Way Up representative said, if you have any questions, we'll get to those at the end. Just type them in the Q&A box. So with that said, I'm going to start us off with a super hype video. Of course, if you can't hear anything, let me know and we'll get back to it after this awesome video.
We see an opportunity to set people free.
This is the end of contract.
Promotion. It's a structural change in how this industry does business because we're changing wireless for the better.
Now look around, this is what they call greatness.
Changing the rules of the industry for our customers, putting them first, treating them right, and changing the rules in their favor.
If you want to see the future, then take a look at us.
That kind of a brand requires people first, because customers are first. It's about a company where people really do bring their real selves to work, where we feel comfortable supporting each other, celebrating our differences, looking like our customers, understanding our customers.
Be you, be magenta. Hashtag be you. Hashtag be you.
A new moment in wireless has begun.
America's largest 5G network, where we now can define the future of wireless.
A more powerful network means more power in your hands, letting you decide how to use it.
Look around, this is what they call greatness.
We're part of something important, and the opportunity we have going forward is so inspiring.
From our headquarters in Bellevue, Washington, and across the country, we've been on a mission to change wireless for good. Our main campus sits among the stunning landscapes of the Pacific Northwest, just 11 miles from the Puget Sound, Pike Place Market, and everything Seattle has to offer. Now we've joined forces with Sprint to supercharge the Un-carrier from 2 campuses. Our Overland Park campus sits just 20 miles from downtown Kansas City. 1 Un-carrier, 2 campuses, designed around our people, designed for one purpose: changing wireless for good.
Our internship program just seems to get better and better every year. Throw everything at it and have fun, work hard, learn new things, meet new people.
Literally the first day I arrived here, saw somebody with a mohawk and like just a crazy magenta outfit, and I said, what kind of world did I step into?
I immediately felt welcome. They see you as an employee and not just as an intern that's on a 12-week interview. Here at T-Mobile, your voice is definitely heard, and I do feel like I'm impacting the organization with the work that I'm completing here with my internship.
Every week as interns, the HR department plans a lot of fun activities for us. They really make sure that the interns are having fun.
Here at T-Mobile, you can be yourself.
I would say just jump in, head first. The experience you'll have will be the best of your life.
What's next for your life? What's ahead? What will the future look like?
You gotta be driven, and you gotta be willing to work hard.
And be prepared to learn and be prepared to do real work. Internships with the Un-carrier.
Change wireless for good.
T-Mobile.careers. Be magenta.
All right. So as you can tell, we have zero fun at work, zero fun at all, right? All joking aside, though, you guys, I love, love, love this video because it really is indicative of our incredible culture here at T-Mobile. What you saw there are not stage sets for the purpose of this video. These are real events with real people with real excitement about our real Magenta Revolution, as we like to call it. So let's kick back a bit and see where we came from to become who we are today, which is number 2 in wireless. So kick it back, like I said, let's go back to 2012. And we were an absolute sinking ship. We were losing our subscribers faster than we could keep up with. There were even articles published listing our company as one that would be extinct by 2015. But spoiler alert, it's 2021, almost 2022. So we're 6, 7 years later, and we made it. That's a success story. Our now CEO, Mike Sievert, was our chief marketing officer then, and he came together with our then CEO, John Ledger, who you may know from social media or from TV. He's a very exciting guy to keep up with. But they came up with a way together to put customers first. Before John Ledger and Mike Sievert's thoughts with this, that just didn't exist in wireless. We created the concept of putting customers first, and with that, the uncarrier, as we call it, was born. This really started with no contracts. This was what the customers wanted. They wanted a choice to choose rather than a choice to be tied down. And each one of these steps on the timeline that you see here on this slide are now called uncarrier moves. These have all truly been a way to serve our customers and revolutionize the customer care and the wireless industry. So it's not just wireless that we've impacted, it's customer service in general, which I think is something really cool. Outside of telecom space, we're still impacting customer service. So a couple of the cool features that I love most and like to highlight, music freedom, data stash, and binge on. So if you combine those 3 uncarrier moves, they all join together to be our truly unlimited package that is mentioned here as well, called T-Mobile One. And we truly were the first carrier to offer an unlimited data and voice plan, despite what all of our competitors say. So we offer perks that customers didn't even know they needed at the time. One that stands out to me is that Netflix on Us there in the top right. This has come in handy for me and my family. We were asked to sit on the couch for the last 18 months, almost 2 years really. So this Netflix on Us has allowed us to binge watch TV with no cost. So that's a nice perk that T-Mobile provides. Another of my favorites there is T-Mobile Tuesdays. That may be a lesser known one to you all, especially if you aren't a T-Mobile customer. But this is really just a very simple way to say thank you. We have gas perks, we have free food, we have movie tickets. I took my daughter to see Adam's Family on T-Mobile. We also have other fun giveaways. In the summer, we got some free beach towels. If we went to the store a few weeks ago, we got some blankets. So just a fun way to say thank you. So no hard feelings, of course, if you aren't a customer, but thank you if you are. And I sure do hope you take advantage of this fun promotion. So those are just a few of my favorite of the uncarrier moves, like I said, but we aren't stopping. There's going to be more and more, and they are a big deal here when they happen. We have what we call uncarrier days. So we all get excited when we see that there's an uncarrier day coming. And if you join us as an intern, I'm sure you'll be a part of an uncarrier day for sure. Now, looking at the bottom here, we are sitting with well over 100 million customers. Went from a sinking ship to over 100 million customers. We actually have 105 million accounts, which totals 284 million people that we are covering on our 4G LTE network and our 5G network as well. So we really came back from being named a dying company back in 2012 to where we are today, which is absolutely thriving. Another statistic that we're super proud of there in the middle of the bottom is our churn rate. So what a churn rate is the rate in which you lose customers. Now, our churn rate is much lower than our competitors, and these competitors don't actually advertise their churn rate, and that is by design. This number here means that our customers stick around at a higher rate than any competitors in our industry. So that's why we share that. The lower that number is, the better, and a lot of our competitors' numbers are going to be significantly higher than that. So that's an exciting one that we like to share that you probably don't see out and publicized by other companies very often. So that's a little bit about where we were in 2012 and a little bit about where we are currently. And here at the Uncarrier, we won't stop. Because of all of these Uncarrier moves, overages are gone, service contracts are gone, I almost said global warming, global roaming has gotten much cheaper and more predictable, and everyone offers an unlimited plan now. So this further drives our amazing teams to continue to think of our next greatest move. Like I said, we won't stop, and we hope that you'll join us to see what those next moves are. So for now, let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so you see some pictures here. I mentioned earlier this little tiny thing called the T-Mobile and Sprint merger. Well, that closed last year in the midst of a pandemic, really at the beginning of a pandemic. It was a very difficult journey to get us to day zero, and then we had to throw in a pandemic on top of it. But day zero was on April 1st of 2020, and this is a huge day that we celebrate as part of our T-Mobile history. On day zero is when a judge officially ruled the merger as complete, and we were one company. Now, day one was on August 1st, 2020, and that's when true integrations on our systems and our network started. And when you saw the magenta T-Mobile kind of start to take over that Sprint yellow, and the Sprint storefronts, the Sprint yellow really just started fading. And now you do not see those Sprint storefronts in the marketplace anymore. They've all been converted to T-Mobile storefronts. So amongst many, many things that came from the merger, one very great thing to come was the network strength that the two combined companies together could provide. So T-Mobile had the high band spectrum and Sprint had the low band spectrum. And we combined those together and we now have a 5G layer cake, as we call it. So this is really supercharging us and putting us at the front of the race to 5G, despite what Verizon may say. And then pictured there in the bottom is our CEO, Mike Sievert. He is doing some absolutely fantastic things for our company and really putting us in a great position to challenge Verizon and AT&T for the top spot in wireless. Like I said, he started a while back now, almost getting close to 10 years, as our chief marketing officer and was the brains behind the Uncarrier move. He's really shaped the way for our company. And over the years, he has worked his way up to where he is now. He became CEO starting on day zero on April 1st, 2020, and has, of course, remained our CEO since. But one of my favorite things about Mike is just how much he pours into our summer interns. He pours into all of our employees, but he has a very vested interest in hiring early career talent. And he knows that we get that through our amazing interns. So he attends speaking engagements regularly with our interns. He goes to intern events. He gets out there. He's interacting with you as interns. And I don't think many large companies of our size can say that their CEOs are out there getting to know our interns personally. He's just overall a very hands-on CEO and leader, and even more so with our U of Magenta internship program. So I could blab about our amazing company, our amazing CEO for a long time, for this whole hour, but I'm going to turn it over and talk about internships now, because that's why we're here, right? All righty. So our internship, we always say, somebody could ask me, what is your internship like? And I always say, it is not our typical internship. It is not your typical internship. And why is that? Well, let me explain about it. We have won a spot in the top 100 internship programs in the country for 3 years now, and I know that's not going to stop. So we have, I'll give you a quick overview of our internship program, and then of course, answer any questions at the end of the session as well. So we have 2 summer internship classes. This next summer, we'll have one running May through August, and then one June through September. This start date really depends on your schedule. Some schools go longer than May, and some schools are done earlier, so it just works works out that we have 2 different cohorts or start dates. Now, this is a 12-week paid summer internship. It's a full-time internship, and you will be working one-on-one with your team on real projects. You aren't running coffee, you aren't pushing papers, you are working on real things that will help to move that magenta needle forward. You'll also get a chance to attend amazingly fun intern events. Like I mentioned earlier, we'll have C-level executive speaker series where people like Mike Sievert and other execs will attend. You'll have a lot of team building events with interns cross-functionally outside of software engineering, outside of technology even. You may have a partnership with someone in HR and you'll get to meet them through our intern events. So lots of different team building events. There's community service projects that you'll get a chance to do. So there's a lot that goes into our internship program, but the bottom line is you are doing real work and on real projects with real people. There's no hypothetical work being done here as an intern. So you may be saying, okay, Jacqueline, this sounds great, but where are the opportunities located? So we have hiring locations scattered throughout the country with our major hubs in Seattle, which you saw in that awesome video, is our headquarters. But really where we're looking to focus most of our hiring right now is Overland Park, Kansas, which is where I sit. I'm coming to you live from my home office in Overland Park. And spoiler alert, Overland Park is outside of Kansas City, right in the middle of the country. It is where Sprint was headquartered and has now been named our HQ for T-Mobile. So we're really looking to hire here in Overland Park, so you can come join me. Also, Dallas, Texas, our office specifically is in Frisco, a suburb, and then Atlanta, Georgia. So those are our 3 main hiring locations for our software engineering roles, but there could be some scattered throughout elsewhere. If you are selected for an internship outside of where you are living, don't fret. We do provide relocation support as well as housing, a cost for your summer housing. So as you browse through our careers site, which we'll share with you, and I think Way Up may have shared, but we'll share with you through my presentation as well, you'll notice that the internships are broken up by several things: team focus, job title, and you'll notice there's a lot. Last I checked, there were about 50 different intern recs. I should tell you we're looking to hire about 500 interns, but you won't see those all posted individually because so many of them share a job title. So I encourage you to just browse through the website and see what interests you and apply to any and all that you may have interest in. Now, being that we're here to talk about our software engineering internships, though, I do want to focus in a little bit more on that here. So we'll go on to our next slide, which is a lot of words, but we want to make sure that you can see this, take down any notes, and of course you can ask questions at the end. So where we hire a majority of our software engineer interns are in these 3 magenta organizations on this screen. So first and foremost is the Enterprise Technology Solutions Group. Then I'll highlight the Technology Services Delivery and Operations Group, as we call TSD&O, and then lastly, Network Technology. So all 3 of these organizations have a very large number of software engineer openings for our internship program next summer. So I want to share just a little about each org with you. If you were selected to interview and go through the process with any of these, we'd go into much greater detail, but just for the purpose of today, I want to give a high-level overview. All right, so first, that ETS, Enterprise Technology Solutions. This group is specifically the organization that I support. So I have the most knowledge on this group. I've been recruiting within this space for several years now. But ETS, overall, our job is to align people and technologies that bring to life T-Mobile's innovative experiences for all of our customers and frontline employees. So the ETS group is really responsible for delivering technology products that partners, customers, and employees celebrate. So this could be our ETS group could be building out an app for all iPads that are used in retail stores. They could be building out a functionality for our recruiters like myself to better organize and sort our candidates to give a better candidate experience. So really, like it says here, we're looking to bring technology products to all of our partners in ETS, and that could be internal or frontline facing employees as well. So that's the first group. Second group there is TSD&O, Technology Services Delivery and Operations. It's a mouthful, which is why we call it TSD&O. So TSD&O is our service team. They effectively anticipate a lot of outages and solutions that may come from those outages. They'll also enable new solutions, like I said, and then they support any of the issues that come up on the way to getting to that end solution for all of our customers here. You could be hired into any of those teams that I have mentioned there, the engineering group, the wireline group, the operations group. There's so many different teams within that overall TSD&O group, but their job is really to make sure that we're ahead of the game. We're anticipating when there may be an issue and we're working towards solutions for our customers. So we'll move on to the network technology group, the last one that's mentioned there. That group is the acronym that we use is NT. That's an easier one, but they're really designing our network. They are the operations, the automations, and the architecture of our network. So this is the group that when I first joined when I first joined Sprint, this is where I recruited. So I come from network technology, but I've been supporting our enterprise technology solutions most recently. So I do have a soft spot in my background for the NT team for sure. Now, NT is really exciting. There's even a branch of NT called Advanced and Emerging Technologies. Their job is really to find innovative ways to make communicating, which is our job, right? We're a telecommunications company, but they want to make communicating more reliable. We don't want dropped calls. So NT's behind that, designing our network. We want it to be more affordable so that people choose T-Mobile. And of course, a seamless experience overall, not dropping calls like my internet just dropped. So that's our NT team that we task with that. So those are the three major organizations where we're going to be hiring our software engineering internships. Now, that is not an exclusive list, and that's why I said I encourage you all to browse our site, which we'll share with you, because there may be a few one-offs. Our marketing team may need a software engineer, but they aren't going to be in our technology space, so I don't have that covered here. Our finance group may need a software engineer. I'm just rattling off ideas. So like I said, really encourage you to look through all of our postings on our site. All right, so before I share the screen with our links to where you can apply for the roles, I just like this word cloud that really shows some of our accolades and awards our company has gotten within the past few years. So some that stand out to me, being that I specialize in college recruiting, right? They're at the top, best employer for new graduates. Also right below that, best large workplace for millennials. And of course, really what stands out is best 100 companies to work for. That's a bold statement. Best workplaces for diversity. And then lastly, the one I think I love most is world's most ethical companies. If you're working here, you know that you're working for a great company that's received a lot of awards and accolades just within the past few years alone. And I know more and more will be coming. So all of this overall just really makes me truly proud to work here and to share with you all the opportunities that you could have if you join us as an intern next summer or anytime in the future. Okay, so as promised, here is the link to our career site where you will find all of the postings for our summer 2022 internships. So the job codes that you can search on that site, tmobile.careers/interns, the job codes are those numbers and letters below. So 175479BR, for example, that would be a specific code for our Enterprise Technology Solutions group. Below that would be TSD&O, and below that network technology. So that's just if you know, hey, what you told me, I'm super interested in network technology and helping you build and supercharge your network. Well, you may want to just look at that one. But like I mentioned, I would really encourage you to pick through and see which ones appeal to you, apply to any of interest. A lot of the job postings will also include a list of projects that past interns have worked on. So that may help give you a better idea of what each group's doing. I would like to mention as well, submissions are accepted for applications through March of 2022. So that's still 3 months away, right? But we are starting the hiring process now. I'm sure you all are aware that a lot of companies are hiring now. So we want to make sure we have the chance to snatch up top talent. So we are hiring now as well. So act fast if you are interested in joining our pack of Magenta Warriors, most definitely. The last thing I want to mention that just came to mind here, I didn't make a slide for it, is just the interview process. I'm sure there's questions in the Q&A about what's next. You know, I apply and then what? So the interview process is different for each of these groups. Again, I apologize for not having a slide put together on this, but that top group, the Enterprise Technology Solutions group, they start with a coding assessment. And then once you receive a passing score on the assessment, you go to a phone screen or face-to-face interview, depending on where you're located, with the hiring manager and the team. And that really assesses the behavioral skills and the cultural team fit. The other two organizations, they don't start with a coding assessment, but typically have a two-part behavioral and technical interview and have more of a panel interview format. With all that said, you don't have to remember that. I just wanted to perhaps get ahead of a question that we may have on what the interview process looks like. Of course, your recruiter would walk you through that should you advance and work with a recruiter. So last thing, our hashtag U of Magenta, that's our social hashtag that you'll see on all those social media sites that you kids are using these days. So you can do a quick U of Magenta search on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever you use, and you'll see a lot of cool content pictured like what's below. So just another quick overview before we wrap up and turn it over to you all for Q&A. If you look on the bottom there, the bottom left and the bottom right is our former CEO, John Ledger. The reason we don't have as many with our current CEO is, of course, we've been in a pandemic. So we have had entirely virtual internships the past few years. So a lot of these pictures, unfortunately, aren't recent, but we still had great experiences, just a little bit different. So John Ledger with different intern events. If you look in the middle next to that group picture, that is our current CEO, Mike Sievert, with some interns. I think that gal was mentioned in part of our, or she was part of one of the actresses in our video that shared her internship experience, and she is there with Mike Sievert. And then you'll see different events too. Like I said, community service projects. They're the interns with the shovels, and just different fun intern events pictured there as well. So you'll see more of that if you search hashtag U of Magenta on the socials. So with that said, that's a lot of information from me. So at this point, I think I'll stop sharing my screen. I'll turn on my video and we will get to some of the questions. Thank you all for listening to me chat with you today about our internship program. I am in my home office, which unfortunately isn't where I'd like to be. I'd love to be in a pretty magenta conference room, but due to some sickness in the family, I'm at our home office. So that's the world we're living in today. But I'm going to open up the Q&A here. All right, so let's see. I've not used this exact format, so let's see if I can go in order. So TSD&O seems like a program where we maintain applications as software engineers. What exactly will you be doing in that program? So let me pull up a list of past intern projects for you. I thought that may be a question, so I'm going to pull up this list here and kind of read through it for you. So of course, I've not supported that org personally. I have a partner, her name is Remy. So if you would apply to that rec, Remy would be the recruiter that you would work with. But projects that prior interns in TSD&O have worked on, creating a service management platform, creating validation trackers, improving response for our voice of customer surveys, automating processes for our internal partners, creating internal SharePoint sites where we share and house our documents. So that's just a few of the general past projects. And from there, I'm sure Remy, if you applied, would have a lot more information on that. Let's see. It says best for new graduates. I want to ask if the internship stretch out to undergraduates as well? Yes, thank you for asking that. That's a great question. So the only stipulation of our internship program is that you're actively enrolled in a collegiate program. That's freshmen through doctorate students, or you're within 1 year of graduating. So it can be great for new graduates. I truly think the best way to get into this company as a new graduate, even if you hadn't had an undergrad internship, is to still pursue an internship post-grad. So that can really help somebody that hadn't had an internship here before, if they're open to that after graduation. So you can share that with those friends that may be interested still post-graduation. We hire most of our entry-level talent from our internship program. So it's really great to get your foot in the door as an intern. Great question. All right. Is T-Mobile currently hiring university seniors for entry-level software engineer positions? Yes, another great question. So that kind of piggybacks off, well, Jose, off the last question that, is it okay for an undergrad to apply? Yes, because our goal is to convert our seniors, okay? So that's what I'm busy with right now. A lot of our December grads are gonna be starting into full-time roles in January, but we're also locking up offers for seniors that graduate in May or June, and I'm currently extending them a lot of full-time offers for our associate software engineering positions. So again, it's great to get in as an undergrad so you can hopefully convert to a full-time employee post-grad. Joshua Wilson, are any internships available for freshmen? Yes. I'll be very transparent, okay? We don't have as many openings for freshmen as we do for sophomores, not as many for sophomores as juniors, and not as many as juniors for seniors, okay? And that is because our goal is to convert our interns. However, each of our organizations, it's their choice. Maybe they don't think they'll have the headcount to convert someone to a full-time role. So maybe they say we're open to undergrads. We do also offer returnships. So let's say you intern as a freshman and you loved it and you want to come back as a sophomore, or sophomore to a junior, and so on. That's an option too. So I've done a lot of returnship offers as well. So absolutely don't let the year in school discourage you from applying. Any possibility for a winter fall internship? That's a good question, Raven. So overall answer is no. If you're starting out as an intern, you have to start in our summer program. However, we do offer internship extension. So let's say you started next summer and you loved it and you wanted to continue working during school. We do offer extensions, and then that internship in the fall and winter while you're in classes would be part-time. It would no longer be full-time like our summer internship. But to start, we don't start any brand new programs in the fall. You have to start in the summer for our U of Magenta program. Any positions for new grads is the next question. So yes, like I said, you can still apply into our internship program as long as your graduation date is within 1 year of when you're applying, okay? So let's say you graduated in December, but you're not looking for anything until this summer, we would still consider you. We also, our entry-level positions are called associate level. The associate level, you can search on our career site. So the screen that I shared that said tmobile.career/interns, if you just take off that interns at the end and put tmobile.careers and search the word associate, that will show you the different associate level positions. I will tell you that we very rarely hire associate software engineers that didn't come from a internship program before. That's really where we try to pull our top talent. Now, that's not saying it doesn't happen, but it's just not nearly as often that we'll hire associate level engineers without an internship. All right. Hopefully I'm not going too fast through these. Maybe I'll check the chat real quick and then we'll get back to it. Cool. Okay. So looks like we have the 3. Which do you think is most beneficial for a cybersecurity major? Good question. Well, I have good news for you because we have some more cybersecurity specific rules. I do not have those pulled up right here, but any of these groups, I think, would have cybersecurity type positions in them, but there may be a more appropriate more appropriate role for you to apply for. So I would search the career site, tmobile.career/interns. You can search by cybersecurity, and there should be some that are more tailored towards cybersecurity. But you could still apply to these and then talk to the recruiter and see if any of their groups would have more focus on the security side of things. Where can you contact me if you have questions later on? I believe Way Up will be sending out a kind of a recap on the presentation, and you can always connect with me on LinkedIn as well. And I will receive a list of who was here and probably be reaching out to you all as well. When going to the website, I cannot find where to enter the job codes. Where can we find this? So if you go to tmobile.com/interns, I can pull it up real quick on my second screen here and kind of walk you through where to find that. So when you first go to interns, it will, kind of sell you on our internship program, like hopefully I've done today. So it'll say students and grads at the top, and then it will say start big and change the game. You'll want to scroll down and it'll say interns, and you click get the details. So once we get the details, then it'll have some more videos, some more hype videos as we call them, like the one I played. And you'll get to scroll down to the bottom and it would say apply now and browse internships. So that's what you're trying to get to. I just like to share the general internship program site so you can kind of navigate and explore the site overall. So if you hit browse internships, from there, it takes you to a page that says current openings, and I'll share it in the chat here. So keywords is what you're going to want to change. So keywords is actually where you share the job code or search the job code. I can actually share my screen here and could have walked you through it that way. So if I go back, here is where you would start when you go to tmobile.com/interns. Okay, this is what you'll see. And then if you scroll down, you'll want to hit get the details. And then you can watch all these fun videos again if you'd like. But if you scroll down and hit browse internships, where it says apply now, that's where we're getting to. From here, it's what it's searching is all of our internships. So that's what I told you when there's so many, right? You could scroll through here and hopefully find some cybersecurity ones, or you can go up here and just enter the job codes that I shared with you. So type in the numbers and then, it would come on right here. You'd hit search. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head. I have too much up here to remember all those numbers because there's a lot of numbers with all the recs I support. So you would just type it right there and hit search, and then you should be able to see it. Hopefully that answers your question, Lucas. All right. Will this year have an in-person internship? Thank you for asking that. I forgot to mention, yes, so the last 2 years have been entirely virtual. And this year we are really getting back to the office. So even though I'm in my home office due to some sickness in the family, we have returned to work in most of our locations. It's not a requirement, and a lot of people are kind of hybrid. So I work from home generally 3 days a week and in the office too. But our goal is to have our interns back in the office, like I said, at least some of the time. So that's why we do offer the relocation if you're in a location outside of where we may ask you to be. We just truly believe that our company is better together, collaborating together at least some of the time in an office, right? So that's why we're looking to get back to in-person programming. Now I don't want you to think that's a blanket statement. There may be some opportunities for remote work, but generally we are looking to get back in person. Great question. All right, how many rounds of interview stages of the application process are there? So I think I touched on that briefly. Each of the orgs that I showed you have different, excuse me, almost pulled my headset off. They have different interview processes. So Enterprise Technology Solutions, like I said, they start with what we call an assessment. It's a coding assessment. With that, you pick the different languages. There's a list of different languages. You pick which language you want to take the assessment in. If you pass it, then you go to a face-to-face or a WebEx interview on the computer, and that would be your formal interview. Now, the other two orgs that I mentioned, Network Technology and TSD&O, those do not start with an assessment, but they're going to assess your technical technical skills in an interview. Whereas with ETS, the Enterprise Technology Solutions, their interview is going to be solely behavioral and just cultural, not technical. So it really just depends on the org that you interview for. And that's, like I said, just the 3 orgs that I mentioned. If you apply for other things on our site, their interview process is, everyone's different. Unfortunately, it's not an enterprise-wide type of scenario for our interviews and our internships. Can we apply to multiple positions, or should we only focus on one? Absolutely apply to any and all that you have interest in. And that is because, not because my job as a recruiter, if I see an applicant that I think would be great for my partner Remy or my partner Sean, I'm going to pass your resume along. But let me tell you, just in one of my recs, I have 2,700 applicants. So I see a lot of names and a lot of people. So the more people that you can get in front of, the more recruiters you can get in front of as an applicant, the better. So if you're interested in something, apply to it. Absolutely. Put your name in the hat. Okay. What would you say the most useful technical and non-technical skill to have? Ooh, that's a good question. Technical, that's very difficult because each team is looking for different technical skills. So I think that would be something I defer to a more formal interview as far as technical skills. Of course, you'll want to include on your resume any languages that you're familiar with, any technical experience you have. Make sure to put that on there because we often sort by Java or Python, depending on what a team's looking for. We'll search based on that. But if you turn it over to the non-technical side of your question, okay, what is the most useful non-technical skill to have? Here at T-Mobile, we are customer obsessed, okay? And I don't say that lightly. Everything we do comes back on the customers. We want to be the customer's first choice for their carrier. Okay. So any customer service skill you have, you want to mention it. Whether that's working in a professional environment and delivering an application that you help support to the end user, or whether that's waiting a table, or whether that's working at the career center in your college. Just focus on making sure the customer's happy, because that's what we're focused on here. And you won't hear the term customer obsessed more than out of my mouth than out of Mike Sievert's mouth. Okay. He mentions it all the time. Any of our execs do. So anything customer service, customer centric focus is very important. Do you guys look for more sophomores or juniors? So I think I briefly mentioned that as well on Keith. We generally, the higher level you are in school, we're looking for more, just because our goal is to convert you into a full-time employee. But we also understand that we want to build our pipeline. We want to make sure that next year when I'm hiring, that I have a certain number of people coming back for repeat internships. So while we are looking for more juniors than sophomores, more sophomores than freshmen, and overall more seniors than anything else, that doesn't mean we're not open to sophomores and other underclassmen as well. All right. Yes, that's a great question. Andrew Ty asks, will we have a mentor while working as an intern helping us through the process? Yes, you absolutely will. That is one of when we take feedback, we call it 360 feedback for our interns at the end of the internship program. You get to give feedback on your experience. And one of the biggest pieces of feedback we get was, wow, having a mentor there in addition to my hiring manager was just so useful, so helpful, and they love that. So what the mentor does, they're different than your manager. So your manager is probably managing a lot of different people, right? And while they're absolutely invested in your development, your career development while you're here, your performance and your knowledge intake, your learning experience, that's why you're here, right? You're here to learn, and your hiring manager is invested in that. But even more so, your mentor is invested in that. They are kind of your person to go to for the little things each day. Maybe your hiring manager's in meetings all day, or they're traveling. Your mentor is going to be that person of, hey, I'm having a problem in Workday, one of our internal systems. Can you help me through that? Or your mentor may sit down with you and start establishing your career plan for T-Mobile. It's that person is your right-hand man, your right-hand woman, whoever it may be, to support you through your internship. So thanks for asking that. I failed to mention that earlier. What will we be doing for the Enterprise Technology Solutions program? So let me pull up some of our prior our prior our prior projects that past interns have worked on. So a lot of our past interns within ETS are working on chat bots in Golang. They're working on change management dashboards, creating self-service licensure tools, proof of concept, anomaly detection, creating portals for our internal customers to use. These are just a few things that come to mind. We still are gathering the names of the hiring teams, and they have to get nominated to get an intern. Everyone wants an intern, so their leaders nominate them and they share projects with us. We're still waiting on that, so I don't have what future projects worked on, but I did share a little bit, and all of this will also be shared in the recs that you apply to, so you can search that job code that I shared on our site and you'll be able to see more of that. Okay, how selective is the T-Mobile internship program? Oh goodness. That's hard to say. I don't have a rate per se of, of how many people we hire compared to how many applicants. But like I said, just in one of my recs, there's 2,700 applicants. So and we're only hiring 500 interns next summer. So I think that shows you that it is pretty competitive. Just in one rec, we have a lot of applicants. But let me tell you here, Grant Smith, by being here today and investing your time in us, that puts you a step ahead of the game. So like I said, I'm sure Way Up will be sharing information from the attendees here today with me, and we'll sort through that accordingly. And hopefully that pushes you more towards the front of that massive number of applicants than if you didn't choose to show up today. So being here will kind of push you to the head of the pack. Mohammed, how do we apply? So that career site that I shared, tmobile.com, T-Mobile career/interns. That's where you're going to go. You're going to browse internships. If you click into those, I shared the screen, you'll click into the ones that you're interested in, and then it'll say apply now. So that's where you're going to fill out your application and attach your resume. You do not live in one of the headquarter locations. Does that affect chances of getting an internship? No, it does not. Like I said, if we ask you to be somewhere where you are not, you will be provided with relocation. Now, relocation helps to cover your moving costs as well as your summer housing. So it does not prevent you or deter us from hiring you into a position. We know as an employer that top talent, the most diverse talent, the most qualified talent may not necessarily be in the backyard of one of our major hiring hubs. So by no means let that discourage you from applying. Let's see, is T-Mobile hiring full-time? Of course we are. I think that's what the question was. It jumped ahead. I think another question came in, but yes, we are hiring full-time. We just do not hire as many associate level software engineers because a lot of them are converted from our internship program. But again, you can search our career site just for associate level positions, whether that's software engineer or data scientist or product manager. We'll have a variety of positions. So I just encourage you to browse through those. I solely hire for our interns. So I'm not as well privy to the knowledge of what teams are hiring what positions. Let's see, is there a limit to the number of positions you can apply to? There is not. The limit does not exist. So apply to any and all that you may have interest in. All right, lots of questions coming in. Thank you so much. I'm trying to get through them all. For the coding assessment, could you use any language? So you'll have a choice of the languages. I think it's Python, Java, JavaScript, and C+. I think that is what the 4 are, but there may be another one in there. Okay, let's see. All the questions are getting out of order. I apologize if I'm missing your questions. I answered that one. Let's see, if you're graduating in May 2023, are you eligible? You absolutely are. Please apply. Could you describe what the day-to-day would look like for an intern? That's a great question. Let's go through that one. We're running a little short on time, so I may be a little selective on things that we didn't answer. But the day-to-day work for an intern, it's going to look a lot like what I do. Okay. I am not a technical person, right? But what I mean by that is I'm in meetings. I come in, I check my email. I probably have a handful of meetings to work on with my team, the projects that were assigned, right? And that's what it's going to look like for you. It's going to look just like that senior engineer next to you. They may have a different level of work, but what they're doing and the project that you're working with them on, you're in the meetings with them. You're not going to go to an intern only meeting to work on an intern only project. You are a member of a real team. So you may have somebody that's been with T-Mobile 25 years, somebody that's been there 3 years like myself, or somebody that's just started as an intern working with you on the team. So you'll work hand in hand, attending meetings, probably having sprints. We work very heavily in the agile methodology. So you'll have stand-up meetings, you'll have just team meetings overall. There's each day is different, but in general, your day looks like a full-time employee's role because you are a full-time employee just here on a temporary basis during your internship. So that's a high level, very broad overview, as I don't know what projects you'd be working on, but keep that in mind that what your day look like is not going to be different from what a full-time employee's day would look like. If you already applied to an internship, how would that play into attending today's webinar? Brian, good question. Thank you for applying. So like I said, we may not have gotten to your application yet. There are thousands of applicants, but we will review everybody that's attended today, hopefully within the week, and reach out to you regarding next steps. Okay, in general, does T-Mobile software engineering internship require previous intern experience? No, that's a good question as well. In general, our only requirement is that you are enrolled in a collegiate program. So if you've had past internships, of course you want to mention it. That helps you stand out. But we do want to see on your resume that, of course, you're in a software engineering focused collegiate program. What coding experience you have, what maybe some courses that you're taking, what you're interested in, and that will help us, navigate if you would be a great fit here or not. Okay, are there more locations other than the main cities? So in general, like I said, the general locations that we're hiring for are the aforementioned. So Bellevue, Washington, Overland Park, Kansas, Frisco, Texas, and Atlanta, Georgia. We do have an office in Reston, Virginia. So that's a little bit closer to the New England area, right? That's outside of DC. We do have an office in New Jersey and New York. There just isn't much of a presence there. And being that we're looking to get back to in-person location, that's why our 4 hiring locations are so much more prevalent in our job postings. But there is an opportunity that there may still be some teams looking for remote work. So don't let that deter you to apply. Internships, are they starting immediately or in the summer? They're starting in the summer. So like I mentioned earlier on, if you missed it, we have 2 different cohorts, which think of a cohort as a start date. So the first start date is in May. I think it's May 23rd and June 20th are the 2 start dates. Yep, May 23rd and June 20th. So they wouldn't start until then, but we are starting the hiring process now to make sure we get that top talent snatched up. All right, answered that one. When will you receive notice that you've been accepted to move forward? So again, the timeline for each of the groups is so different, Victoria. So I'm starting to source through our ETS group right now, the Enterprise Technology Services group. So you may be notified this week or hopefully before the holidays if you are selected to receive that assessment. If you're looking at the NT group, the TSD&O group, their process is different. Their recruiter reaches out on a different timeline. So just be patient. By no means are you not being considered if you haven't heard anything within the week, but I'd say keep an eye out because it could start coming soon. Let's see, when working on an internship project, how many people would be on a team? That's a great question. I don't have the straight answer to that. It really just depends on the scope of work of the project and how many brains they need together to deliver the product or the solution to the customer and the client. So that just varies. I don't have a set number for you there. That is a question though, should you be selected for an interview, Jamie, that I would defer to the hiring team because they would have a better idea of the type of work, the scope of work. let's see, you're an incoming graduate in May 2022. What full-time roles would be applicable to someone with 2 to 3 years of industry experience? So our associate level software engineers or even standard level, just search software engineers. If you have 2 to 3 years of industry experience, you may even be qualified for our standard level. So just search software engineer. Now, being that it's only December and you graduate in May, our full-time roles, they're not going to hire as far in advance. Like our interns, we're hiring now for May, June start dates, but I would wait until the spring to start applying and searching because those positions are looking to get filled quicker. If they post an associate or standard level position on our career site, it's because they need someone now, not in 6 months. Alrighty, and with that, I think we're at our time limit. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Brandon, for your assistance and everyone for all the questions. I will get to them and get back to you all if necessary. So thank you all for your time. Hopefully my talking with my hands didn't distract you too much. And again, thank you for your patience with the technical issues we had with the sound and my internet cutting out there. But again, thank you so much and have a safe and happy holiday. Bye.